Welcome to the Raise Podcast. I'm Coral.
And I'm Natalie.
And we're here to help you raise your game whilst raising the next generation.
We want to help put the power in your hands and inspire you to live your life the way you choose. Ready to raise some questions?
Well, so are we.
So today we're here with Laure and Keivor from My Little Farm, who own the most amazing regenerative farmland where members can actually co-own their very own small holding without the commitments or responsibilities of running one themselves.
Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Can you tell us a little bit more about why you started My Little Farm?
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us. I think in 2020 it was a bit of a wake-up call for us as a family, just really reevaluating how the world works and the levels of corruption.
Was this because of COVID or was this then? Did it kind of
I think, like a lot of people, sort of had a feeling that things weren't right, but couldn't put a finger on why.
Yeah.
And then I think that everything became very visible and it became really clear. Like you could see, this is deep and things are wrong. And so when we would just go for endless walks and think about what could we do to steer society in a more positive direction. And we'd always come back to, we need land, establish a level of, I guess, food security, which has evolved into food sovereignty. And that felt like the foundation of any healthy society kind of needs to be built upon regenerative farmland. But we had no knowledge or understanding or experience of farming whatsoever. So
None at all.
No.
I know, I love that. Just a wild dream that you just...
Yeah. And I think it's probably like intrinsically human, like that connection to the land and connection to your food source. And it's something that we've just become alienated from in
really
time.
Detached. Yeah.
And so I think like everything kind of ties back to that in terms of, a healthy, well-lived life. So my driver was like fundamentally freedom. Like it felt like establishing independence and freedom can only happen if you own land and you've got food sovereignty.
Because you can control what you're doing.
You have ultimate control. But Laure, with her like nutritional knowledge and background, could really understand the depths of that and how just the nutrition in food like fundamentally kind of builds a healthy human.
Yeah, and I had a bit of an awakening from having studied nutrition in a very mainstream. So I did a master's in nutrition that was very conventional. And I think that was a massive wake-up call. So that would have been in 2019, where I realized that the nutritional guidelines were completely wrong.
Almost laughable. Sorry.
Exactly, almost laughable. And so because I was a registered nutritionist at the time, I had to follow the guidelines. And if I didn't follow the guidelines, then you would get into trouble with the accreditation body of nutrition. So I think when COVID hit and we were like, oh my gosh, like we really need to be doing something. And foods and land was just like the most important thing. And I was like, we really need to actually take responsibility for what we're eating and not just follow the guidelines and just rely on food suppliers like our supermarkets and even like farmers markets and organic shops. Like there was this really important thing where we're like, okay, we actually need to be growing our own food and know exactly what goes in it, what goes into the animals, what goes into the animals' feeds. And that's when we started the farm. So we bought 15 acres in Sussex and started farming. And then after that first year, we went on holiday in the south of France. And then we were like, oh my gosh, like this was actually so hard. And we are not farmers. Like I love the end product. I love like the really, really high quality foods. And I thought that I wanted to have a small holding and I wanted to have, chickens and get the eggs from the coops every morning and milk my Jersey cow and like have my veg and like all of that. But the reality is that it is such hard work. So that's when we came up with the idea that actually there must be people like us who want the end product and who want to know exactly what is in their foods and who want to be able to name the animals and participate in the growing, but not have to have the commitment of the farm. So that's where things started. And so we've developed this concept of people can become co-owners and have the food security and know the animals and know the veg. You can be there and help us if you want to, but there's no commitment. So you can still go on holiday and you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to milk your cow. But if you do want to, you can.
You can do that as well.
That's essentially the idea.
So was it a new concept, or had you seen this concept kind of somewhere else and thought this is something that we should kind of implement ourselves?
No, so it was completely new, and it did take us a good 2 years to like get things to the point where we are today. And
it's such a good idea.
When we first started, so we knew we wanted to have, obviously like food and community, and we did go and see other community farms and like to have a look at how they worked, and nothing felt right. Like it was, I think most community farm projects had something where people had to commit certain hours a week, or they had to, maybe there was a lot of egos getting into the conversations and the decision making, and nothing felt like a place where I would want to be involved in. So we just
also aesthetically, I feel like you've really got it. It's almost like Dalesford, but not.
And there's still a lot of work to do, but I think that's like Kevor's eye for like the design and making the place really beautiful.
Yeah, because when I came to visit, it was just a few empty meadows.
Yeah,
and then so in literally just a couple of years, you guys have created a whole working farm. Can you tell everybody what you've got on the farm at the moment?
Yeah, so we started with 15 acres of completely bare land. So it was just like pet pasture. And we now have 2 kilometers of raised beds. So these are no-dig vegetable beds.
What's no-dig?
So no-dig is basically where you don't disrupt the soil at all. And it's a regenerative way of growing where you just add organic matter on top of the soil. And we've got the beds, we call them beds. They're basically 10 meter long and 50 centimeters. No, sorry, 75.
20 meters long.
20 meters long and 75 centimeters wide. And then they're like about 20 centimeters high. And that's all like organic compost and organic manure. So like really, really building the soil. So we've got vegetables growing in there. So yeah, we've also got a forest garden, which is like the most idyllic little heaven on the farm. And so it's basically this space where we've got loads of edible plants growing. So we've designed it in 7 layers so it goes from like root vegetables all the way and fruit and all the way to canopy trees. And then you've got like bushes and shrubs in the middle, and everything is edible. So you've got like fruit trees, nut trees, berry bushes and medicinal herbs. And it's really beautiful.
Amazing.
And we also have 31 or maybe 30 now. Since last week, 30 maybe, I think. Heritage pigs.
Oh.
So they are really beautiful, a breed called Oxford Sandine Blacks. So
why did you choose them?
So they are supposed to be native to this region, and they are heritage breed. There's just like so many benefits to getting a heritage breed. So they've not been like modified to be like really
incredible,
big and fat or whatever for meat consumption. And they've got all the properties of like more of like wilderness traits. So they're really
like
good
wild
at
pigs rather than factory farmed pigs, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they'll be really a bit more robust in the weather. They'll be able to forage a bit more.
Live a healthier life.
They live a healthier life. And honestly, like there have been the most incredible mums. Like the sows who have had piglets. We've been told by all the other farmers, you have to get these bars because like mum pigs will always roll onto the little ones and kill some. And we've never had that. Like they've just been like the most amazing mums, and they just have these amazing natural instincts. And like, they're gorgeous. And then we've got 4 Jersey cows and 1 calf.
Amazing.
He was born a couple of weeks ago, and we've got about, how many sheep have we got?
About 20.
About 20 sheep, and they are Hebridean and crossed with South Downs sheep, so also like a heritage native breed to the region. And then we've got about 100 heritage chickens from lots of different breeds.
You guys are busy.
Ducks. And 2 dogs, 2 livestock dogs, yeah.
And that's grown so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
it's been quite a year really. It's a lot's happened in the last 12 months.
Because you were just focused on the food and like the growing aspect, I guess, initially, and now the animals have arrived.
Yeah.
And Keivor, recently when I saw you as well, you were just about to milk a cow for the first time. Can you tell us how that went?
I was quite glad we had a couple of other people there that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I think
wouldn't have a clue.
No, and I think that's the key thing. So we realised that, if we're going to do this properly, we need people who really know what they're doing and love the farming and love that whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So we've built up a small team of people who've just got incredible knowledge and skill. Each of them has a focus of responsibility, whether it's on the vegetable garden, the forest gardens, the livestock, the milking of the cows and all of that. So we've got a team who really know what they're doing. But when you were there, it was a Sunday and it was Joe's day off. I'd had one day of introduction. And so, that was my my baptism.
And it went well.
Is it easy or is it hard?
She is a really calm cow. So I think it's very dependent on the cow. So she made it easy. So
She's a bit stubborn though. Took a while to get her there.
Yeah, she can be a bit stubborn, so we managed to walk her to our little makeshift milking area. And we've got a little machine. And
so do you literally do it?
So it's a little machine that it's like a rollable kind of mobile.
Okay, so you don't do it with your own hands?
No, it's got these suction cup things, that go onto the...
It'd be like, I guess, like a breast pump.
Yeah.
But for the cow.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so fortunately there was a couple of other members there who actually knew what they were doing as well. So we all did it as a bit of a collective effort. So
how was the milk?
Well,
how did it
to
taste?
be honest,
Have you tried it?
So we haven't actually had it yet because the milking parlour is still in construction at the moment. So we want that to be set up really well before we can actually bottle the milk and have it. Just for hygiene, basically.
Yeah.
So at the moment, those 30 pigs are the luckiest pigs ever because they're getting raw Jersey cow's milk every day with their biodynamic oats.
Amazing.
They're going to be good pigs, aren't they?
They are going to be good pigs.
And then do you guys plan to actually sell your own raw milk?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just need to wait for the milking parlour to be
And what are the
finished.
regulations like with that? Is it difficult to sell your own raw milk?
Yeah, well, it's difficult to sell your own raw milk. The difficulty with that is just making sure that you're doing things in complete hygiene because people are still under the assumption that raw milk, because it's raw, it's dirtier and more dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy around it,
I get
isn't there?
so many DMs saying, I know you give your children raw milk, but I've read such and such on Google.
It can be dangerous.
And it's really dangerous. So it's difficult, isn't it? When obviously a lot of the information that's out there is negative around it.
Yeah.
So for you guys, obviously you want to do it as properly as possible.
Yeah. And I think people don't understand that actually the cows, if you drink pasteurized cow's milk, that cow was probably milked in a much dirtier environment. But then because they knew it was going to be pasteurized,
it didn't matter quite so much.
So the hygiene and the conditions are not as good. And when you're doing raw milk, first of all, it's not dirty, it's just got more bacteria. So I think there's that assumption that bacteria is a bad thing, but it's actually a really good
bacteria. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So we are so excited to be selling it. And then there's the hygiene difficulties around setting ourselves up as a working dairy. But then there's the reselling of raw milk, which is not possible. Yeah. So that's
you're only allowed to sell it.
Yeah,
with
from
it
the
from
gates
your
of the
from
farm.
your farm.
And then I think that in America, there's some places where you just can't sell it at all. So
there's certain states, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where you can't sell it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so does that means that you guys could only sell your own raw milk on My Little Farm? You couldn't stock it anywhere else? Is that
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then with our farm, what's different is I think, so you can't sell it to the public and we don't actually sell any food to the public.
Oh,
so
really?
No, because we only sell it to co-owners. So everyone essentially owns the cow.
Yeah.
Why is that? So why, for example, could Plore Hatch sell it to the public and yet you guys couldn't? Is that something to do with licensing or?
Oh no, we could. We could. Yeah. So, we will be selling.
You can't resell to the public.
Yeah, and we're developing sort of certain products that we want to make more available to people who want to get a taste of My Little Farm before becoming a co-owner. So we're developing a range of products that like we will be making available. But the idea is that we're focused on establishing food sovereignty for our co-owners. So we're reducing the barriers to entry for somebody to own their own farm. So,
right, okay.
Usually it would be hundreds of thousands of pounds and a 7-day-a-week job, and you're like fully invested. And so it's so many people want access to that lifestyle and to all of the benefits that, and it's a dream, right? So many people have to own a small holding and to live off the land, but it's just unfeasible for most people.
Just a quick break to talk to you about Happy Mammoth. At Raise, our goal is to help women and mothers to live their best lives, and that's exactly what Happy Mammoth want you to do too.
They are dedicated to helping women take control of their well-being at every stage of their life. Hormones are essential for our overall health and happiness, as they impact everything from our energy levels, sleep, to our mood and our focus. And when they're out of balance, well, life can feel pretty out of balance too. Which is why we're excited to share Happy Mammoth's Hormone Harmony with you.
Hormone Harmony isn't just for women going through menopause, it's for anyone experiencing the effects of hormonal changes. We both take Hormone Harmony as part of our daily supplement go-tos and are so impressed with the ingredients and benefits we feel from taking it. They're packed with adaptogens, which are really powerful herbal extracts that help your body manage stress, and it's designed to naturally restore balance and help you feel like yourself again.
You may have actually seen Hormone Harmony on social media already, because women cannot stop raving about how it has transformed their lives. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds.
So whether you're navigating life's transitions into menopause or just looking for hormonal balance, check out Hormone Harmony from Happy Mammoth, because life's too short to let your hormones hold you back.
For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code RAISE at checkout.
So when you guys first bought the land, was it your intention just to have it for yourselves? Or did you come up with My Little Farm and then buy the land?
No, so the intention was to have it for ourselves, but also like the local community. And we were just trusting, because it would have been way too much land just for us.
That's what I wasn't sure, yeah.
So we were just trusting that we were going to be making these connections and just like creating a community of like-minded people who had perhaps come to the same realizations than us during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there, it was just like, how do we actually package it and make it work so that it works as a community and we enjoy the process?
What was the demand like? The number of people that you have that have a, co-own My Little Farm with you, is there waiting lists? Kind of how do you deal with?
Yeah, so the number of co-owners obviously is dependent on how much land we have, because people own a piece of the land, so we can't have more.
And do they choose how big they have? Is that what you mean on the land?
So the way we've structured it is, so we've explored loads of different ideas in terms of how to structure it, and we realised that a farm works as a total entity. So everything kind of contributes to everything else. So it's kind of like an ecosystem in its own right. So you basically become a co-owner of My Little Farm and you essentially have a stake in the overall farm. So it's not like we don't have like allotments or like kind of segmented areas that different people own specifically, like you.
But do you have a limit on the number of people that I guess essentially you can have within the farm?
So when we launched the concept of, we started it as a membership thing back in 2022 or something. And it was like the first time that we'd been publicly vocal about sort of where we stood on things and what our sort of worldly outlook was. And prior to that, we felt quite lonely and isolated, and that we were are we just a couple of nutcases that are like living in a bubble? So we kind of built up the courage to be more vocal. And we didn't know if that was going to alienate people or if it was going to draw people to us, like if we were going to push people away. And it's done a bit of both of that. But ultimately, it's just been this overwhelmingly positive response from a kind of a group of people that we've just grown like deeply connected to, like just building relationships with people so quickly.
And like-minded.
And it's actually been a good filtering process as well, because it meant that people who didn't align with what we were saying were just like not joining or deciding to leave. And that was the best thing. And now thinking about it, it is actually the best thing.
And you have a big emphasis on it being like a family, you know, for people with their families to come with their children and kind of get stuck in.
Yeah. And that's, for us, that's a really important thing to just like show the next generation of like, you know, this is how to grow your food and this is how we raise animals, and they get involved. And we've got a lot of people who also homeschool their kids. I would say that 90% of our community are like homeschooling families. So yeah, they just really value, like I'm sure you guys would be able to say, like
outdoor classroom.
Yeah, and like the real life skills, like, you know, instead of going and learning whatever they learn at school, I don't know, but then like you're actually learning how to like chop wood and like, you know, feed the animals and put a fencing up or
and grow your own food.
Grow your own food, yeah.
So,
so powerful.
On that, obviously you guys have now had your own child. Are you concerned about the future of the food system, the current food system?
I guess yes and no. I'm not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, now you've got a farm, yes.
Yeah, there's definitely things happening in the world outside of the little bubble of my little farm that are quite scary, and what they're doing to the food. And that is just, you know, almost impossible to get, you know, even like eggs from chickens that haven't been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Even from the best organic farms. Like that is one thing that we've realized it's actually not possible to get that. So there's definitely some things like that. And then, you know, obviously like the more scary things, like trying to move away completely from animal foods and having all the fake processed meats and places, you know, pushing, you know, the massive agenda, pushing for veganism and just kind of like having that worry that if we didn't have the farm, there would just be this kind of like control of our food, and, you know, maybe we would be forced to stop eating certain foods and there would just be some foods that would not be available. And obviously just like the whole food chain supply, like just empty shelves, or there are a lot of like just like worries about the quantity of food available, like like the food being available, but then also the quality of that food. And I think that's like a really important thing for us is like to grow the best quality foods and to not be injecting anything into our animals or like spraying anything onto the land, and really making sure that the food is like as pure as possible.
Because you mentioned on your website that it's beyond organic. So can you explain to the listeners what that means?
Yeah, so we farm in a way that is regenerative.
What does that mean for people that don't?
Yeah, so that is basically that we want to be giving the land and the ecosystem more than we're taking. So we want the farm, the land that we've got, to be a better place from us being there. And that means things, for example, like we don't plow at all, like we don't disturb the soil, whereas other farms, even organic, would be plowing and doing like monocrops. And we have a diversity of crops, do companion planting, make sure we've got lots of flowers for the pollinators. We leave the roots in. So when we harvest veg, we leave the roots in, and that builds the soil. And we use lots of compost and manure and compost teas and extracts. And also just like looking at the farm as one ecosystem and the animals being part of it and not having everything separated, which I think is just like so rare. Farms now would be, you know, either a vegetable farm, if not just like one vegetable, they would just be growing that thing
just
and plowing. On one. Yeah, and that's like, say, like organic farms would be doing that.
Okay.
Or they would be an organic dairy, and all they would be doing is milk, or an organic egg farm or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas we really work with all the different aspects of that farm as one ecosystem, and it is supposed to be that way. Like things are supposed to work together, not in isolation. And obviously we don't use any, you know, fertilizers or any chemicals, which is also something that is different to organic, where they don't use synthetic chemicals, but they can use alternatives, which are not necessarily
scary,
better.
Isn't it? I think when you go into a supermarket, you trust that something says organic, and yet actually there are so many loopholes, aren't there, within the kind of supermarket system where they're not actually organic, are they?
And you can so easily get derogations as well. So like a farmer can just like call up and say, oh, I'm having this issue. Like, I just really need to be spraying this one time. And then they'll like easily do that. And then
so they can allow it like once.
Yeah. And that once ends up having, being twice and 3 times and 4 times. And then
no idea about that.
Yeah. So I think it's like,
the
standard of organic is to us is way too low. So I think we don't even want to get that certification because we don't want to be at the same level
bracket,
as farms that are just like doing the bare minimum to be organic, or like, even if they're doing the maximum, just to be at that certification for us, it's just too low. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's not to like cast blame on farmers either, because so many farmers have taken a route in order to be making a living for themselves and kind of worked under a level of education that's led them to farm in a certain way. And it's kind of the whole industrial system is set up in that way. So the industrial and commercial farming system is, for the individual farmer, it's really hard to step out of that.
Yeah.
And it's a big struggle we've had in terms of taking this path, because you really are putting up a lot of barriers, because our heritage hens, they produce eggs very infrequently. And, if the weather changes, they won't lay. If it's too hot, too cold. Whereas, more of a commercial egg enterprise, they'd be doing things which in a way that we don't want to be doing, but they'll be producing consistent eggs every week, which is what they need.
Guaranteeing the money.
And guaranteeing, and so it's very, very hard to do it. So that's where we're trying to set this thing up in a way where we build this community of people that really value the food and what's in it, and put a greater level of value on that and realize that. So, and I think in time, we really hope that, more farmers can kind of join this journey and this movement, because it's just so necessary to ensure that we can, as a nation, we can be providing and producing our own food for our communities indefinitely, and create that level of independence from those crazy external controlling mechanisms. And that's what we want to do, really, come together as a community, really invest in this way of farming, producing this way of food, and establishing just all this positive good stuff that we just all need to connect to.
Do you find, do you have any other farms kind of nearby that are kind of paying attention to what you guys are doing and kind of willing to learn, or is that kind of not really happening, yet, those conversations?
Yeah, no, we do have loads of actually close or not so close, just people who hear about us and then reach out being like, oh, like this seems...
How do you do this? And what are you doing differently?
Yeah. So, and I think they kind of see that it does make sense.
Yeah.
And so, we've had a lot of people very interested in like wanting to adopt what we've been doing. And we have actually given out our model sheds with other farms who have taken it on and like replicated. It's not about us just like keeping this thing for us, and it's all about having more places
and
like this
sharing the knowledge that you have. And if people, if they've grown up with one way of kind of looking at how farming works or whatever, not kind of realizing that there's another way to do it.
And if you think about it, for the next generation as well, you're planting these seeds for our nation and maybe the world, to be able to learn from what you guys are doing. And I think that is just incredible. It's really, really inspiring.
And it must have been such a risk initially to come into this, not ever having farmed before, and kind of, going on this journey. What do you think the hardest bit has been?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
How long have you got?
Yeah. There's like farming itself is just all consuming, complicated, and constantly changing, dependent on the weather. Every year is different, especially at the moment, like with just the craziness that's happening with the weather. And it's like, so you're constantly like reacting and changing, and so it's just and constantly learning and adapting. So like the farming thing is all consuming, and then we're also trying to build a community around that, and that in itself is a delicate thing to nurture and build when you're trying to, at the same time, like we're learning and trying to understand what our values and principles are with this new world of farming that we're connecting to, and then kind of building a community around that is a really and then trying to do it in a way that's like viable from a business perspective. So there's so many components, factors,
and having a daughter.
Yeah.
You guys had a baby a year ago. Do you mind if we talk about that a little bit? So you guys gave birth, what, a year and a half
how
ago?
old is she?
She is 13 months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And you didn't have any medical intervention whatsoever, did you? So no midwife appointments, no scans, no anything. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we just decided to take radical responsibility. And I just didn't feel comfortable delegating anything to anyone external. And I just felt so trusting and confident in my body and that I could do the right thing. And my body knew exactly what it was doing. And I didn't need to have someone confirming or like, your body knows what it's doing, and you don't need to have someone in a white coat telling you that your body is doing X or Y. So that was very powerful, I think. It's been, I had to completely, what the cool kids call wild pregnancy.
Wild. I love that.
Wild.
Yeah, that's good.
Wild.
Okay.
So no scans, no appointments, nothing. So no one knew I was pregnant. Actually, no one in the medical world knew I was pregnant until she was a few weeks old, I think, when we notified the birth.
So you did register the birth? I wasn't sure. So we did eventually. So no one knew during my pregnancy I was not seeing any medical professionals. And then when I gave birth, it was with no medical professionals either.
Incredible.
Where did you give birth?
On the farm. I was going to say, did you give birth on the farm?
I actually thought about
that would have been good.
And it was just like
no.
Yeah.
Bit too,
We did have a bell tent made up.
We did have a bell tent up there. And it was just, when it was happening, I was just like, I am not moving. I'm staying at home.
Wow.
And she was born, actually, another thing that was unusual is that I gave birth at almost 43 weeks.
Wow.
Which is...
Yeah, because they would have induced you in the, if you'd been seen medically.
They definitely would have.
Yeah.
And that felt quite good as well, because I was like, I've got no one harassing me and asking me to come in for daily scans or checkups or anything. I was just like, I'm just doing this and I know I'm okay. And I knew that she was okay, and she was born, and she was like this really big baby that didn't look like a newborn at all. She looked like
3 months old.
Literally looked like a 3-month-old baby. She was like 10 pounds or something.
Wow.
And the placenta was really beautiful, super healthy. And that is also another interesting thing that they would have told me, you can't stay pregnant this long because there's these ideas that your placenta is going to expire and your placenta is not going to be healthy.
Is that what they say the reason is?
Yeah, they do say that. I don't know if people still say that loads, but you do read that a lot. And I know people who have been told that was the reason for inducing.
Okay. Did you use your placenta?
Yeah, I got it encapsulated.
How was that?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Oh, actually, no, the first thing is Keivor.
You had a smoothie with it.
Keivor made me a smoothie.
Okay.
What, raw?
No, they say,
So did you have
blend it?
But when it was raw, so you didn't encapsulate it, you just took a bit and put it in a smoothie?
Yeah,
they say, I read about that.
a little piece off and then blended it with berries and banana.
How did you feel drinking it?
And I actually gobbled it up.
Yeah.
I loved it. And it was really interesting because...
Did you have some, Keivor?
No.
It was actually really interesting because we had our first litter of pigs born a week before I gave birth, and I witnessed it all. And, she just knew what she was doing. She had no one, doing scans or giving her due dates, or she just gave birth beautifully. And then she ate all the placenta and everything.
Oh, and you saw that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I wasn't sure. And, there's this whole idea that they're doing it to keep predators away so that they don't smell.
Okay.
But then the way she was eating it, she just really
enjoyed it.
It just really perked her up as well. She was really tired and she ate it all. And then she just had this massive boost of energy. And I saw that and I was just like, oh my gosh, I
need to do that.
I'm going to eat my placenta.
I love that.
So Keivor made a smoothie. And then after I got it encapsulated, and then I really wanted to take the capsules until one morning, I think it was maybe a couple of weeks after, I just woke up and I was like, I just can't get close to that bottle of capsules. Okay. And so I just thought that's my body telling me I've had enough.
You don't need any more.
Wow.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I love the fact that you just totally listen to your body throughout your whole journey. It's just incredible, because we wouldn't have had medical intervention. Did you have someone with you when you were giving birth? Did you have a doula?
Yeah, so I had a doula. Well, there's this kind of movement of like people who call themselves birth keepers. So it is essentially like a doula. And then Keivor was here, Keivor's mum was here. And yeah.
This year, let's say no to microplastics, no to toxins, and yes to clean, healthy hydration, because water matters more than you think.
We're made up of 60% water, so what we drink literally makes us who we are. Enter Win-Win Water, the game changer in pure toxin-free hydration.
Most tap water is full of chemicals, fluoride, metals, hormone disruptors, and even medications. And unfortunately, most bottled water is made from fossil fuel-based plastic, which can leach nanoplastics into the water we drink.
That's where Win-Win Water comes in. Not only are all their bottles 100% plant-based, made from sustainable sugarcane, but their water is locally sourced mineral water that is naturally high in electrolytes and minerals. No need to add anything in, it's just as nature intended, real, live water.
So we're huge advocates for the UK-based water company Win-Win Water. For us, it really is the starting point for health. If you're drinking the best quality water with no toxins, your body will thank you for it. And in this case, the environment will thank you too.
Win-Win Water are currently offering 10% off subscriptions with the code RAISE, so that you can get the best quality water delivered for you and your family directly to your door.
Visit winwinwater.co.uk to find out more.
So did you, with regards to the placenta and the umbilical cord, did you keep it attached or did you cut the cord? What was the process with that?
So she was born, and then we just like left it for I think a few hours, and then we actually did like a little ceremony and burnt it with a beeswax candle.
Wow!
So you just kind of like hold the cord and then burn in the middle, and it detaches. And the idea is that it's a very, very gentle separation from like what is really their connection to. Obviously, the connection to the placenta is just so important to them. And that's really like them kind of like gently arriving onto earth. And so it was very gentle. And
where did you learn about all this? Did you kind of do a lot of research to give you more confidence during your pregnancy? Or was it before?
Yeah, or did you meet anyone? That's what I was thinking. I was like, had you met anyone that had done that?
A bit of all of
well?
that, actually. I think I got hold of like some really, really good books that
What were the books called?
A lot of like free birth. Yeah, I'll definitely let you know, because
we'll put them in the show notes.
Yeah, they were really transformative for me. And then I think from there you kind of then like find podcasts and find other people who have done the same. And I bet there's a lot on social media actually. If you start looking in, my algorithm isn't into that stuff. But I bet if you start looking, it is a very funny thing when your algorithm starts showing you women giving birth.
I was there a few years ago and it lasted a while.
As soon as you
now
open
it's
Instagram,
gone.
Especially if like you're on the train or on the bus or something, and then you're like, oh, okay, sorry. No one needed to
I used to
this.
find it fascinating watching though. I used to love it, like when I was pregnant, obviously, but then afterwards, you don't.
Yeah. It does kind of like just show you that it's possible and that our bodies are made to do that.
It's really empowering, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So what kind of stuff do you guys eat as a family, your day to day?
We do eat similar. I'm definitely more of like the foodie into nutrition than Keivor is. So Keivor will eat meals I make as long as it's not just like pan-fried liver.
Do you eat from the farm? It's like that kind of like that ancestral kind of like farm way of eating. It's like you'll eat from the land.
Yeah. So I try and do that as much as possible. Just like eat whatever we produce, obviously like super seasonally. I'm not going to be eating a cucumber in December. Just because I also think that maybe we're not supposed to be having it. Like it's just, there's just so many. It's that kind of like also such deep connection that you also just kind of like don't feel like eating things that are not seasonal anymore after you've been so connected to the seasons and the foods that grows. But yeah, we do eat our meat, our eggs, which anecdotally is very interesting because my daughter won't eat organic eggs that are not ours.
Oh, no way.
She doesn't.
She knows.
Even if, she knows. And even if obviously I cook them exactly the same, like she just doesn't want to eat them. And I don't know if it is because of our hens, that like what we give our our chickens.
Yeah.
Because we don't give them any soy. We make our own like food blend.
I haven't tried your guys' eggs yet. I really need to.
Yeah.
Want to do a taste test.
Yeah, definitely. And like even like the actual egg is so different. Like it's hard work cracking the shell. Like you have to like give it like a massive bash in order for it to crack. And even once it cracks open, like it is just so tough. Like you could never do the one hand crack that you see people doing when they're like filming, and it's like, no, that's not possible.
Yeah.
We need to try them.
So yeah, we eat
strong eggs.
Yeah, they're very, very strong eggs. And so yeah, lots of eggs. And I've been having like a raw milk drink in the morning with like raw milk, a raw egg yolk and honey and a bit of cinnamon, like warmed up, but not too warm so that the milk stays raw.
Of course.
Very important.
Very important.
And yeah, I was having that throughout my pregnancy. And I think that is probably why
she's
so
baby.
Healthy.
Oh.
Like she was born like, super healthy, big. And she's like really thriving now.
So do you feed her the similar kind of food?
Yeah, I try. It's a very humbling experience, isn't it, feeding little ones when you're like, eat this.
And then they don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want it.
Yeah.
And
I bet you envision giving her like liver and...
Yeah, I have given her liver.
Have
I have, what does she... There's certain very random foods that she'll really love, but then... Yeah, it is just
it's very
humbling.
Hard.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually, bone broth, we make, so we've got a range of food products that we make at my little farm. And bone broth is one of them that we make with our own chicken carcasses and the feet.
Nice.
And all the other like collagenous, gelatinous bones. And it makes like the most amazing broth that it's so solid that it's completely set. If it's
so is this from your chickens on the farm as well? Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I need
so before you warm it up, it's like total jelly.
Yeah, it's like total jelly.
Incredible.
Which like you would never have if you get bone broth from...
No, it's like
it's very watery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it would be interesting actually to try and like see what the concentration ratio is compared to shop bought organic bone broth, because ours just feels like so dense and like so thick. So she'll like actually eat that with a spoon.
Wow.
And just, like,
jelly.
because it is so like gelatinous, and she loves that, which she's been having that since she's been, that's what I used to first wean her or to introduce solids. So she was on the bone broth.
What was her first food?
Yeah, bone broth.
It was bone broth. I love that.
And then bone marrow.
Ella's Kitchen, sorry.
Yeah, and then bone marrow that she loved.
Wow.
And then I can't remember what else we did. She loves raw butter.
Will you guys make butter from the milk? And
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, so that's raw butter, raw cream.
Wow.
And then at the moment, the products we've got the bone broth, the milk kefir, and then sauerkraut, and then other like fermented vegetables. So like fermented cucumbers. And so basically like all these ways that you would have been preserving your own veg and your own food on the farm if you had a small holding. And then that is also like just like so packed with nutrients. And, taking a spoonful of sauerkraut or kefir is like the most potent probiotic you can get, like way more potent than any shop bought probiotics.
I bet you guys don't take any supplements, do you?
No, although I do take an organ blend actually.
I do. Okay, yeah, because I suppose
it is just. I think also like us, even like eating the same as a family. Like you're not a fan of like the organ meats, and I have used like the blends like for lasagnas or bolognese. Sorry,
they're
I'm
still
just
quite
like,
meaty though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Even I go off them sometimes. They're quite strong, aren't they?
Yeah, quite strong.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of eating organ meats, but I'll happily have it in a capsule.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine.
Which brand do you guys have of the organ meat capsules?
I have been using the Ape Nutrition, I think. Yeah. The black
we
bottles,
love Ape Nutrition.
Yeah.
Because your mission is to establish 100 community farms across the UK. Is that correct? Is this kind of the future for My Little Farm?
That's
the goal?
Yeah, that would be the goal. But through us being involved in some of them, but also kind of empowering other communities to set up their farms around the country to, establish a network of farms. So we just want to connect as many people as we can to the land and to trusted food sources. That's the bigger vision, I guess. And so starting small with our first farm and building a community. We've got members all across the country. So we're shipping at the moment,
that's
shipping.
good to know.
So where can people find out more about you guys? So if they want to be involved or
Get
kind
your
of interested in
products and
Yeah, so they can have a look at our website, which is mylittlefarm.uk. And then they'll learn more about the co-ownership and they can become a co-owner.
Well, so even you could be up north, for example, and you could still be involved in the farm.
And then you just ship them the food.
Yeah.
Oh, so are you shipping food as well now? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you don't have to be local. So you can,
Yeah, because we realised that we want to connect on with people with the same values and ideas, and rather than focused on a specific location, we want to contribute to a movement across the country in terms. So we've got kind of pockets of members in different areas, which are kind of highlighting where we think the next farm should be.
Nice.
Okay.
So that's the idea. And so, some of those members living further afield, perhaps they come down for a weekend in the year, or, and then they can connect with us through us. So we've got an online community portal that they can connect with the rest of the community with. And then, connect with the food weekly through delivery.
Okay, amazing. And you guys are on Instagram as well. It's mylittlefarm.uk. So people can find you there. Well, guys, I have absolutely loved learning a little bit more about you both and the farm. And thank you so much for coming on
thank
today.
You so much.
Thank you so much for having us. It's
thank
really
you
nice
very
to
much.
chat.
Thank you.
Really good to see you.
Thank you.